Welcome back to the channel. I'm the Blu-ray Bandit, and I've got a good one for you today. Guys, I've finally done it. I've been working on it for a while, but I've finally done it. You are looking at every Steven Spielberg film on Blu-ray and 4K Blu-ray. All 33 of them, from Duel in 1971 to Ready Player One in 2018, and everything in between. We're going to go through them title by title, but first, why did I do this? Why would someone collect all of the films of a certain director? First off, I love Spielberg. Now, this is not a controversial statement. Lots of people love Steven Spielberg movies. From Jaws, Raiders of the Lost Ark, Jurassic Park, Saving Private Ryan, Minority Report. These are all top 100 movies for me. He is easily my favorite director of all time. But why physical media? Why own a physical copy? Why not just stream his movies on Netflix? Well, I did the count. At the time of this video's recording, out of all 33 of his films, only 8 were available on a major streaming service, and only 2 were available on Netflix in the US. Look, streaming is great if you just want to sit down and find something to watch. Anything to watch. But as a library of movies you already know and enjoy, and you want at your fingertips, whenever you want to watch them, it sucks. It sucks bad. Yeah, I could have bought them all digitally, but not all in the same place. Each service with its own terms and agreements, and each with the risk that at any moment, access to that film could be cut off. If you buy a movie digitally, you don't actually own it. Don't believe me? Do a Google search. So the only solution to this dilemma is to buy them all on physical media. So that's what I did. I bought them all, one by one, the vast majority at pawn shops at a steep discount, some brand new via Amazon sales, and a few of the harder to find titles on eBay at a premium, and always buying other titles alongside of them to pay for the Spielberg titles I wanted to keep. So not only do I own every Spielberg film, but I paid $0 for them all in the end. So let's go through them one by one. All right, here we go. Steven Spielberg's movies, title by title. Duel. This is his first film. It was originally a TV movie that later, once he got famous as a director, was theatrically released. It's all right. It's a decent thriller. You can see shades of Jaws in it, amongst others. It's worth a watch just to see his first theatrical effort. Sugarland Express, Spielberg's second movie, though his first to be theatrically released, starring Goldie Hawn. It's a cops and robbers chase movie. One of Goldie Hawn's first. She looks super young in it. Came out in 1974. It's a decent chase movie. Nothing crazy, though. Only notable as Spielberg's first theatrically released movie. Jaws. What to say about this movie? This is in Blu-ray. I'm in the process of upgrading it to 4K. That will happen very soon. It's a classic. If you think you know everything about Jaws, go to Google and look up Jaws Filmumentary. Filmumentary. A good friend of mine, Jamie Benning, makes these making of videos, kind of DVD extras that were not contained on the DVD, but they are by far better than any making of you will find on an official release. I'm not joking. You should go check it out. Filmumentaries. In fact, I'll put a link in the description. He's also done filmumentaries for Raiders of the Lost Ark and all 3 of the original trilogy Star Wars movies. All of them are worth watching. They need to be seen to be experienced. It's kind of a making of video that also gives you the vibe of watching the movie at the same time. It's great. Anyway, Jaws, also great. Top 100 movie for me of all time. Not much else to say about this horror classic. Close Encounters of the Third Kind. This is Spielberg's first foray into science fiction. It's a movie I enjoy. It's not my favorite Spielberg movie. I know a lot of people hold this one near and dear to their hearts. This is the 40th anniversary edition in old school snap case. pretty much in perfect quality. At one point, I had the collector's edition, which was really thick and stuck out farther than your typical Blu-ray. I actually traded down just so this would look better on the shelf. Again, a movie I enjoy, but not my favorite. 1941, pretty much Steven Spielberg's only pure comedy, and actually a movie that I despise. I've seen it twice. The first time I hated it. I gave it a few years. I thought, hey, maybe I was wrong about this one. I watched it again. Nope. Still hated it. Don't find it funny. Don't find it entertaining. Find it very boring. However, I do own it now. It's pretty much the only Spielberg movie that gives me that reaction. Like, I literally dislike this movie. I don't even like holding it in my hands. But alas, it's in my hands and I must keep it in order to keep the collection intact. From the worst to one of the best, this is Indiana Jones, The Complete Collection. I don't know how Spielberg went from 1941 right into Indiana Jones. Starting with Raiders of the Lost Ark. This is the trilogy in Digibook. There's the front cover. Did I say trilogy? Yeah, there are 4 Indiana Jones movies. This is all 4 in one package. In very good condition. I bought this used on eBay. Don't remember what I paid for it, but it was not a whole lot. Hopefully these will be coming to 4K soon and I'll be able to make the upgrade. I enjoy the first 3 Indiana Jones movies. The 4th is pretty much garbage. Another movie I gave 2 watches to and felt the exact same about it. If I had to put the Indiana Jones in order, I would go Raiders of the Lost Ark, then Temple of Doom, then The Last Crusade, then whatever that 4th piece of crap was. The only bummer with these collections is when I put the full Spielberg collection on the shelf, I have them in order of release, but because of this series and the Jurassic Park series, the collection itself is just where the first film was released. It kind of bugs me that the others can't be in their proper position, but nothing's perfect. E.T., the Extraterrestrial. At this point, Steven Spielberg was knocking them out of the park with a series of serious cinema bangers. E.T. the Extraterrestrial on 4K. I bought this used in a large lot of 4K Blu-rays. I think I roughly paid $4 or $5 for it. Maybe $1 or $2 more. I don't really remember. This is a classic. I believe they added the guns back into this movie on this release. I don't remember. Never really bothered me that they went walkie-talkies at some point in the aughts. Guns, walkie-talkies, I don't really care. I'm not quite sure why I'm talking about this instead of the movie. Probably because you've seen it already. It's E.T. Everybody loves it. Speaking of movies everybody loves, this is not one of them. Twilight Zone, the movie. This movie actually has 4 directors, Steven Spielberg being one of them. He only directed one segment in this movie. This was actually the hardest title out of all of his to find at a decent price. This regularly sells used on eBay for over $50. I managed to snag one brand new, still sealed for, if memory serves, $28 or something like that. The only reason I bought this movie is to have it in the Spielberg collection. It's not a movie I enjoy. I probably won't ever open it up, and someday I will resell it when it's time to break up the team. But for now, it's just a sealed copy of a movie nobody loves, Twilight Zone, the movie. The Color Purple. I would say this is Spielberg's first foray into Oscar-type movies, aka movies that could win a Best Film Oscar. This movie did not win a Best Film Oscar, but it is a good drama, starring Whoopi Goldberg and Danny Glover, amongst others. It's based on the book. I enjoyed it the one time I watched it. I might watch it again someday. Maybe not. Who knows? It's a good one, but not my favorite, The Color Purple. Empire of the Sun. This is one of my favorite lesser-known Spielberg titles. This one in digibook form. You got the Blu-ray, you got your booklet on the inside, and finally a bonus disc called Warner at War. I'm guessing this is a documentary about war films. I'm not quite sure, and I have not looked into it. The digibook is in good shape. There's a little bit of a ding here and there's a little more on the cover, but for the most part, this is in very good condition for a digibook. This is another title that definitely sells at a premium. It regularly goes for between $20 and $30 on eBay. The only way to get this movie in the US is via a large Spielberg collection box set or on digibook. There's no normal Blu-ray case version of this in the US. Thus, I had to track this one down on eBay. I paid $18 for it out the door after watching it for several months and finding the right price. Always, another Spielberg movie that I don't like. I don't have a negative visceral reaction to this one like I do with 1941, but I also just don't prefer this movie. This one stars Holly Hunter, Richard Dreyfuss, and John Goodman. It's a movie about pilots who put out forest fires by dumping water on them via their airplanes. It's also about death and grief and a bunch of other things. One of my podcast co-hosts really enjoys this movie. I do not, but I had to have it in the collection or else it wouldn't be complete. If you think I'm wrong on this one, leave it in the comments. Hook. This is probably my Steven Spielberg guilty pleasure. I don't think Hook is a particularly great Peter Pan adaptation, but I do have a nostalgic love for it. It takes way too long to actually get to Never Never Land. Like, I believe it takes 40 plus minutes to actually get to the action. Most of that first 40 minutes is Robin Williams as an adult in the real world, just kind of being frustrated and angsty. But once it actually gets to Never Never Land, this movie just goes completely balls to the wall. I love every minute of it once it gets there. I'm happy to have this one in the collection. It's a weird one with lots of strange performances from Bob Hoskins and Dustin Hoffman. Like I said, it's a good one, but a weird one. Jurassic Park. This is the 25th anniversary edition in 4K, another digibook. This actually holds the original Jurassic Park trilogy and the first reboot movie. I'm kind of bummed you can't buy the 4Ks individually. That way I can keep the two non-Spielberg directed Jurassic Park movies out of the collection. But if this is the way I have to have it in 4K, then so be it, right? Spielberg only directed the original Jurassic Park and Jurassic Park 2, Lost World. He did not direct 3 or the recent Jurassic World. And I think generally it shows, although I do enjoy bits of 3. I'm excited to own the 2 that Spielberg directed in 4K, highest quality available. Not much to say about the movies that hasn't already been said. They're great. Specifically, the first one is pretty awesome and kind of came out of nowhere for most people. And I'm also excited that this is already open, so I don't have to feel guilty about opening it. Next up, we're about halfway there. Schindler's List. This is Steven Spielberg's Oscar play. He was kind of warming up with The Color Purple with Schindler's List. He went for the home run. This is a Holocaust drama. It's a hard film to watch, but I think an important one, both for the historical context it provides and the story it tells, but also as a Spielberg fan, it's kind of a moment in time where he's at peak populist filmmaker, making huge blockbuster, big budget movies, but at the same time really honing his craft in the drama department. Schindler's List is probably one of the better examples of that. It's a great movie. I'm excited to own it on 4K. I have not opened it yet, but I will be opening this because I definitely need to give this one a rewatch. Amistad, a slave drama set just before the turn of the century, starring Morgan Freeman, Anthony Hopkins, Digimon Hansu, and a very young Matthew McConaughey. It's absolutely unforgettable. I don't know. I've seen it. It's kind of forgettable, but it's all right. If you're on a mission to watch every Spielberg movie, this is one of them. It's not the worst of them. It's kind of a middle tier movie to me. This one just has the Blu-ray in the flimsy recycle case. It's just another title added to the shelf to me. And I've never heard anybody express any great love for it, but it's not bad. Speaking of not bad, Saving Private Ryan with slipcover. This is another title that is actually available on 4K. I do not have that yet, but I am working on it. This one is the winner of 5 Academy Awards, including Best Director. This one did not win Best Picture, controversially. I believe the movie that won Best Picture that year was Shakespeare in Love, which is a movie that most people don't like at all. It's got a little bit of writing on the case here, but that is on the plastic, not the insert. I'll have to clean that up. Didn't notice that the first time around. But yeah, this is one of my favorites. The first 30 minutes of the movie is solid gold war action, so realistic. It's kind of scary. The rest of the movie is more dramatic and tense. I enjoyed that as well. I enjoyed the entire experience overall. One of my favorites, Saving Private Ryan. AI, Artificial Intelligence, starring Haley Joel Osment and Jude Law. This is Spielberg's pet project sci-fi film, a movie that Stanley Kubrick, a friend of Spielberg's, had worked on for decades. Stanley Kubrick unfortunately passed away during pre-production on this movie, and so Spielberg picked it up and finished it. It's all right. It's a little overlong and a little sappy, but it's okay. If you've never seen it, it's worth a watch once. It has a strange, kind of depressing ending. Spoiler alert on that one, but it's kind of an interesting sci-fi thought experiment. Minority Report with slipcover, lenticular slipcover. Although I hate it when they make slipcovers and they don't really do much. Like this one just kind of, it's like the same image, but they slightly turn it. Like they didn't actually film. Anyway, I hate pointless lenticulars. With slipcover, Minority Report, one of my favorite sci-fi movies from Steven Spielberg, based on a Philip K. Dick short story. Starring Tom Cruise and Steven Spielberg's first collaboration with DVD and bonus disc. If you haven't seen it, I don't want to spoil anything in it, but it's a great sci-fi movie. It's kind of a detective film of sorts, but with some kind of strange time shifting in it. One of my favorites, Minority Report. Catch Me If You Can, starring Leonardo DiCaprio and Tom Hanks. This is a fun cops and robbers chase film, kind of an on-the-run crime spree. It's 60s styled. I enjoy the movie. I've seen it twice. Probably the most notable thing to me about it, though, is the opening credits sequence. Very much animated in classic Saul Boss style. The movie itself is pretty good. I enjoy it. Maybe not supremely entertaining, but not bad for sure. There's a great scene in it where Leonardo DiCaprio just completely one-ups Tom Hanks' character. That's probably the most memorable scene in the movie. But overall, a decent Spielberg watch. The Terminal, another one starring Tom Hanks and Catherine Zeta-Jones. This is based on a true story of a guy who traveled to the U.S. and then something happened in his home country while he was on the flight. And when he landed, his visa or his passport or something was no longer valid. And so he literally got stuck in the airport terminal for what I remember being years. I don't remember if that's how they play it in the movie. But anyway, Tom Hanks plays that foreigner. It's kind of a drama with just a tiny bit of comedy. It's not my favorite of Spielberg movies, but it's definitely worth one watch at least. Probably won't be your favorite, but Spielberg generally does not make bad movies. At minimum, the worst of them are watchable, save for maybe 1941 and possibly Always. I've only seen this movie once, but I'm interested in giving it a rewatch. Either way, it's staying on the shelf. War of the Worlds in 4K with slipcover, still brand new. I picked this one up on Amazon Prime for $9.99 thanks to my @$10 4K Twitter account. Link in the description if you want in on those deals. Yeah, War of the Worlds, Tom Cruise teaming up with Spielberg again. Basically a remake of the original War of the Worlds film, with updated effects, certainly, to bring it into modern times. It's all right. It has its moments. Not my favorite Spielberg or Tom Cruise movie, but not bad. I'm sure it'll look spectacular on 4K when I decide to open it and give it a watch. Munich. This is a spy thriller starring Eric Bana and Daniel Craig. This is based on a true story. It's a period piece, I think set in the late 60s, maybe the 70s. I don't remember exactly when. I've only seen it once. This is a brand new copy I snagged off of eBay. It's a good one. I've only seen it once and I don't remember much about it. But it did get 5 Academy Award nominations, including Best Picture, Best Screenplay, and Best Director. I don't remember if it won any of those. It definitely didn't win Best Picture, but it is a good movie. Good potboiler thriller / spy movie. If you haven't seen it, check it out. The Adventures of Tintin, Spielberg's first animated film. This is a good one. It's often overlooked, but it's a great family adventure film. Part of why I like it is it was written by Edgar Wright and Joe Cornish. Edgar Wright of the Cornetto trilogy, Hot Fuzz, Shaun of the Dead, and At World's End. Joe Cornish being the writer and director of Attack the Block. So the pedigree is there. I know Tintin is a more popular character in the UK than it's ever been in the US. This one only came with the Blu-ray. I don't really care about DVDs. And I got it at a pawn shop for probably $2.50 at most. But yeah, the movie didn't do too great here in the US, but I think that's just because nobody in the US has much of a reference for Tintin. Regardless, it's a fun action movie with great animation and a cool storyline. I think it's kind of a hidden gem that should be seen by more people. War Horse with slipcover. This is a really thick Blu-ray. I mean, look how thick that thing is. This is brand new, sealed. I found it on eBay. This is another one that regularly sells for between $15 and $20 used. I put an eBay watch on it and somehow snagged it along the way brand new. This is a movie I enjoy, but I've only seen it once. I remember it being very long and one of those movies that kind of ends but keeps on going for no reason whatsoever. I'm sure I'll watch it someday again in my lifetime, but as of right now, I have no plans to revisit this anytime soon. Maybe someday I'll break it open. I'm kind of hoping I find it in the wild, used, although I doubt it. I don't think it was very popular on release or on Blu-ray. I remember more the cinematography of the movie than the actual story. Not sure what that says about it, but either way, it's a Spielberg movie, thus I had to own it. Lincoln, starring Daniel Day-Lewis. A masterpiece. I don't know about that, but it is definitely a drama I enjoy. Gives you a little bit of context on what Abraham Lincoln was thinking at the time that he was president. This one has a rental sticker that I'll need to remove. I believe that's a Redbox sticker. It's a solid drama. If you like Daniel Day-Lewis, a lot of the film is basically him just chewing scenery, which I love Daniel Day-Lewis, so it totally works for me. Your mileage may vary, but it's a good one. Bridge of Spies, another kind of spy thriller from Steven Spielberg. This one starring Tom Hanks. It's kind of a spy negotiation movie. It's a good one, but kind of underappreciated. I think the problem with Spielberg is he hit so many of them out of the park in the early days that even though his later output are still consistently watchable movies, they tend to get forgotten amongst the classics. You know, your E.T.s and your Jaws, your Jurassic Park, etc. But this is definitely a watchable drama / spy movie that if you haven't seen, you should give it a shot. Speaking of movies to give a shot, do not give this one a shot. I mean, do it if you're a Spielberg completionist, or maybe your kids will get more out of the BFG than I did. But I do not like this animated movie. Another Redbox rental with stickers. Gonna have to remove those. I think this is the first Disney movie that Spielberg made as well. Like, this is literally Disney, a Steven Spielberg movie, the BFG. I can't think of any of his others that are actually attached to the Disney studio, which seems odd, considering certainly not all of Spielberg's films are aimed at kids. Some of them are, and yet he never worked for Disney until he made this pile of garbage. If you like this movie, I'm sorry for you. I had to own it in order to complete the collection. Like, literally, this was the last Spielberg film I found out in the wild. I'm happy to own it for that reason only. Other than that, it wouldn't last a second on my shelf. But for now, its spot is secure. The Post. This is a historical drama centered around the Nixon Watergate scandal. This follows the newspaper that uncovered the Watergate scandal. It stars Meryl Streep and Tom Hanks primarily, but it also has Sarah Paulson in it, Bob Odenkirk, Bradley Whitford. There's a bunch of cool actors in this one. My copy, as you can tell, is still sealed. This is another one that's on 4K. I'm going to leave this one sealed until I can locate it for a price I'm willing to pay on 4K. But for now, I'm just going to live with the Blu-ray to complete out the collection. It's decent to good. Check it out. And finally, Ready Player One on 4K with slipcover. It's kind of a bummer to end on this one because I don't love this movie. I don't hate it. I kind of feel like maybe it wasn't made for me. Not that I'm super old. I definitely have nostalgic vibes for a lot of the properties displayed in this movie. I never read the book. The movie kind of felt a little too frenetic for me and a little too focused on the visuals, not enough focus on the story or making you care about the characters. I think in the past, Spielberg has been very good at presenting new technologies in entertaining ways, but also making you care about the characters. Kind of a 1-2 punch of a special effect you've never seen, combined with a character that you actually care about within the context of that special effect. I'm not sure Ready Player One quite got there for me in that same kind of way. But regardless, it's the last film that, as of the date of this recording, Steven Spielberg has released. His next film is a remake of the classic musical West Side Story. I don't believe he's ever made a musical, so that might be interesting. But yeah, by order of release, this one finishes out the Spielberg collection. So that's it. That's every Spielberg movie on Blu-ray or 4K Blu-ray. The entire collection. There are a few in here I still need to upgrade to 4K, but for the most part, it's finished. What's your favorite Spielberg film? Leave it down in the comments. We're gonna need a bigger boat. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Until then, bye.